You're watching The Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
It's Jena, Shanice, and Bean. We're back again here from Space Cadettes, and today is probably going to be one of my favorite episodes. We're going to talk about music and soundtracks and things like that. And everybody knows my life revolves around music. I love it. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is kind of like, when you think of like a character, is there like one specific song that comes on? Like when you think of Iron Man, kind of like what they did with that movie, any of them, it was AC/DC. Right? That is like, I think of Iron Man, I think of AC/DC. I think of Hellboy, I think of Kickstart My Heart. Do you guys have any of like associations that are like kind of like that?
The recent one, and one that's like the most recent soundtrack that I got really stuck on and was just like listening to is Moon Knight. And that song, which I'm gonna need to be like looking up the titles of songs, so I'm so bad at remembering the titles of them. But that one from the very beginning, where I think it's called A Man Without Love, and that one, like, I think for the rest of my life, whenever I think of Moon Knight, I'm gonna think of that song, because it was so perfect. And like, who thought of that? It was made by like a guy like Roger Inglebingle Himberbert or something. Like, who is that? How did they find that? Don't come for me, Roger Inglebingle Humberbert fans.
Guys, if we ever say a name wrong, you can correct us in the comments.
Yeah, here, I'm going to correct myself. It's just going to take me a second. Okay, but Shanice, what's one for you that you, like, associate with someone?
So, I was on a really good streak. I didn't talk about the greatest superhero soundtrack of all time for at least 3 months, but now I had to talk about it. But every time I hear Kiss from a Rose from Seal, I always think Batman. Like, not every time it comes on the store, it's like, oh, Batman. Yeah. So, of course, I always associate with that movie and that soundtrack. I guess recently, Thor. Every time I hear Led Zeppelin,
okay,
I think of that scene for Ragnarok, which is really cool. But yeah, those are mine.
I just thought of a recent one too. What's that? I can't remember who sings it. It's like, and I'm hooked on a feeling. Oh, yeah. Like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I always think of Star-Lord now. Like, because I have that on an old playlist that I play sometimes. And I'm like, hey, Star-Lord's dancing. Like, it's like, ooga, chaka, ooga. Like, yep, that's all. That's it right there. Marvel has been killing it with picking like perfect songs for characters lately. I don't know. Like, do they have some sort of magic person in their like background people being like, oh, hey, this song, and then everybody's like, oh, that song, yes, and then he's like, yeah, but check out this song, and everybody's like, oh, this song, and then it's like, that's how they make soundtracks.
I think it helps if you have someone who's just like, I mean, I think everybody says like, oh, I love music, but then there are people who are like, no, like, I love music. It's like, what's his name? James Gunn and Peacemaker. Like, I went on a like 80s hair metal binge because of that show.
Yeah.
And even saying the show name, I immediately think of the theme song. And I heard it. I actually heard it like on the radio not too long ago. It's like, wow, I don't think I would have known about this band and this song if it wasn't for that show. Same with Suicide Squad. Well, his Suicide Squad, actually both Suicide Squad movies actually had really good soundtracks.
Yeah.
Listen to them from time to time.
I'm pretty sure there's been once in a while we're in the store, we've like pressed play on the soundtracks for some of those movies.
Oh yeah.
And then, oh, have either of you watched Stranger Things? Most recent season. So you know that Kate Bush song, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's everywhere. Well, I ended up going on a super deep dive. So they used a remastered version of that song for the show, but there's actually a rock version of that song that somebody did a cover of, and I was like, oh, yes. And I think that's something else that I'm really like coming out of, like all these like 70s and 80s and 90s songs are resurfacing, but then people are like doing some amazing covers of them. And it's just like, that's so cool.
I knew the song Running Up That Hill really well, but I had never heard, I didn't know it from the original. I knew it from the rock version. Well, I don't know if they're considered rock. I don't know what they would be considered, but it was the band Placebo. Oh, they came out with it. Did you guys like grow up like listening to that too? Because it was definitely in, I don't know if it was like, I don't know what I think they would be considered rock, metal,
alternative rock. I feel like
yeah. But actually, the first time I heard it, I was like, "Oh, this is like a cool like acoustic cover of this song that was so grunge before. That's fun." It's like, "Oh no, that's the original." Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I think I really like it when songs go like. You guys have heard of this? Like, I don't know if it's like an actual album or not. Pop Goes Punk or Punk Goes Pop. Yeah, I love them so much. And they just released a new one, and it's got things like Running Up That Hill, and they did another one. They did Britney Spears' last song, which I can't remember what it was now. Oh my gosh, I just blanked out. Oh no, it's like right there. But they did some amazing things. I always love, because then I get to like explore new bands that I would have like never heard of before, if you know they hadn't done a cover. That sounds so bad. I guess you have to be introduced to a new band one way or another, right? And then deep diving those bands because of that album leads me to other bands, leads me to other like singers, and it's a spiral. It's a good spiral. It's a spiral.
But it's like that one song, "I Will Always Love You." I never knew that was a cover. For the longest time, I thought that was Whitney Houston's song through and through.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's by Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton, and she wrote it for a movie. Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. That's what she wrote it for.
That. You did.
Yeah.
So I've never seen it. As much as I love Dolly Parton, I haven't seen like a lot of her movies. I've just like listened to a lot of her music. Okay, but I have like a question for two people who are more experts than I am and actually keep up with things. So I was thinking, because like there's a lot of like superhero movies now that are using, and like shows that are using like older songs, kind of like in an interesting way. But do you guys feel like Guardians of the Galaxy sort of started that? Because that's the first time I really remember seeing it. And the plot of the movie has it as a reason. Like, oh, it's a tape deck that his mom made for him.
Yeah. I think it was, I think the first one, at least in superhero movies, I think it was Iron Man. And that's just like
I don't know. I feel like them using AC/DC and stuff, like I don't know. It's not quite the same in my mind, just because it's not as dramatically different.
Oh, okay.
Like to suddenly have like ooh shaka, that's like a huge departure from what you expect to see.
Yeah. I think Guardians of the Galaxy really did kind of kick it off with that. I mean, okay, so in Iron Man, the reason that he listens to these bands and stuff is because that's what he grew up on. So that's why he brought it over to his adulthood, which everybody does that. The songs we listen to as chitlins, that's what we listen to as almost adultlins. And
Sorry. Chitlin.
yes, Revenge for the Great Panini.
Oh my god.
It only took me like a year. Woo. Anyways. And I think like you said, the reason that Peter Quill has those songs and that soundtrack is because that's what his, mom gave him. That's what he grew up on. That was the last, human music that he heard. And he brought it to space. And now space should be thankful.
I think my take on it, because I think it's the first comic book movie soundtrack where the soundtrack actually makes sense. Like it actually is plot relevant. But I also think the reason why it blew up the way that it did, to quote one of my friends who grew up when all of these songs were very, very popular, said that these songs, that they still have a lot of replayability. And it's not just like, oh, well, it's, and same thing with was it Stranger Things? Like the songs that they choose, it still bangs 20, 30 years later.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was the first comic book movie soundtrack in a long time that was actually a soundtrack. Like it's not the first one, but I can't really think of any before Guardians where I'm like, oh, let me go get by this soundtrack that actually has different musical artists, and it's not like a score or whatever.
Yeah.
Prince, and or even it is something that I really did miss, and I'm glad that Guardians did it, and I'm happy that the newer movies are starting to do that now. Black Panther, which is a fantastic album. Oh my god,
the whole album's so good.
Shang-Chi, yes. Birds of Prey, and I'm glad that they're actually reaching out to artists, making new music or reusing older songs. And I'm hoping Black Panther 2's album is going to be fantastic. I mean, even the prologue music was great, but
the whole trailer. Somebody actually took the music, no words, no nothing else, and put that out there. I downloaded it. I'm pretty sure I've listened to it 100 times already. Wakanda Forever. I need it now. Sorry, I was going to blow up.
But I guess to answer your question, Bean, I think it's just so many things going on with that soundtrack, and it's like lightning in a bottle almost, I guess. And I guess even talking about it now makes me want to play it. Just put it on in the background, licensing be darned if we get hit by Marvel's lawyers for this episode.
Just tell them that we love them.
I really wanted to play my favorite cover of Running Up That Hill, but it's the TikTok sound where the guy's singing, he's like, I'm running up that hill, then I ran out of breath, had to lay down and regret my life choices. I love that.
I'm just so happy that more and more people are listening to Kate Bush because she's great.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm also about it, and it sounds so gatekeepy and it sounds terrible, but I've been looking for Hounds of Love for at least 2 or 3 years at the record store and at a thrift malls, and it's oh, we had it for 5 minutes and then someone got it. It's well, crap. Because I have her first album, but it's I want Hounds of Love.
Maybe they'll do some re-releases.
I think
I've seen that at Walmart. Have you guys seen them where Walmart has re-released a lot of classic records, but on colored discs, not discs, albums? I think I picked up. They did Purple Rain on a purple album, and I don't know why I loved that. And they did Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it was orange. I didn't understand that one. But some of these other ones, I'm oh yeah, this color makes sense. The name of the song is this. The color of the album is that. The name is this. The cover of the thing was that. Yeah. But then that one, I was why is it orange? There's no orange on the cover album. Nobody is wearing orange. Nobody has orange skin.
It's foreshadowing. It's
Huh?
a foreshadowing from Adam Warlock showing up in Guardians 3. They're just playing the long con. This is Marvel's. This is Kevin Feige just demanding that it's just orange vinyl.
All of the vinyls need to be orange from now on as a secret hint for people.
I saw it about to ring. I tried to hit silent as fast as I could. My apologies to our producer, who's gonna have to do
He's gonna
something.
leave it in out of spite.
Okay, Fox and Marvel come after us. It's like, no.
I think the rule is you can have like up to 5 seconds or something like that. 15 or something. By the way, what do you guys think of that being like a weird rule on not just YouTube, but other places where it's like if you use a sound, and I will obviously tell you what this is. It's like, this is X-Men blah 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 theme thing of the thing, blah 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 blah. Sorry, over here, blah 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 blah. And then we put down below, we don't own the rights to this. The other people own it. But then, like, sometimes it's left up there. But then other times it'll get, like, copyright hit.
I just can't. Like, there's only so many things that you can really care about and, like, keep track of in the world. But I do just really love the story of where, I guess, was it Metallica that was like one of the main ones that really pushed for new copyright laws?
Oh, yeah.
And then they were doing a live concert that was streamed on Twitch, and the algorithm that their lawyers had pushed to have implemented took down their sound and started playing generic, like, beep boop 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 boop, like, elevator music.
I had to think about that. That did happen in Metallica. Because they were just like, if you have our sound, you need to pay us, period. And then they had their own concert that was live, and like the internet was like, oh no, we don't want to pay them monies. Take it down. And it was like, oh gosh. Because I think they were also the ones that was like super against
I thought it was a Napster.
They were super, they were just like, people are downloading our music for free and we're going to sue you for it. And we're going to use whatever illegal downloading site you used to come after you. So not only if you were caught downloading their stuff, not only were you prosecuted for the law, like I can't remember if it was federal or state. I think it was federal. You also had the band come after you.
Like physically?
With lawyers. I don't know what's scarier.
They're just outside in a van. I'm
so sorry.
All I can think about is that scene from Josie and the Pussycats when the boy band ended up in the Metallica parking lot, in the parking lot of a Metallica concert. Every day I know the words.
Thank God, every day I knew the words to Inner Sandman. Oh my God. We could be du jour. All we need is body cast. That was one of those soundtracks. Yes. That entire soundtrack I still listen to at the store and at home. I have it, all of it, like in my playlist as like soundtracks that I love or just songs that I love. And I will sit here and I will listen and I will sing every single word. A lot of people didn't realize that Josie and the Pussycats were comics either back then. Because I remember when the movie came out, I was like, oh yeah, you know, they showed up in one of my little Archie digests. You remember those things, right? And yeah, I did a deep dive into Josie and the Pussycats right after the movie came out because everybody was like, oh my gosh, it's so original. I was like, it's a comic. And that was also one of those movies that was so, like, it's aware of itself and it makes fun of itself.
Meta.
Thank you. Where they were just like, even at one point they did we have found out that subliminal messages don't work as well in songs as they do in movies. And then it turns like, join the army now. Like they put in a subliminal message in the middle of talking about subliminal messages in music and TV. And in what universe is orange the new pink?
The Josie and the Pussycats universe.
No.
But yeah, I was gonna say, like, actually, speaking of soundtracks, I know we were talking about comic book ones, just out Josie and the Pussycats. But is there a movie soundtrack that you guys just listen that you guys are just like obsessed with? It can be new or old, or just like, I'm in the mood to put on X soundtrack or whatever. Oh,
Josie and the Pussycats. I will listen to that till the day I die. But definitely. I loved it that they had, they had the boy band songs. Then they had the punk band songs. And then they also had like a cover of one of their own songs. It's great. And then they even covered their own songs. Like Josie and the Pussycats, Josie and the Pussycats. They were like, Josie. And I was like, yeah. But yeah, that's mine.
I really like the top ones I can think of are all from comic book and like shows and movies from recently. I don't know, like maybe I just, like I said, I would say Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess one that's not, because like usually it's Guardians of the Galaxy, the Peacemaker soundtrack, and Moon Knight are like my three big ones I've been listening to for the last couple months. But I think the Cowboy Bebop original soundtrack from the original anime.
Yeah.
I was reminded the other day that there was a live action. I actually had just completely forgotten it existed.
I had to till just now.
Yeah. But yeah, that one, and it's interesting. It's a lot of like kind of like jazzy goodness.
Yeah, I guess mine was because I bought it on vinyl not too long ago, but the Tron Legacy soundtrack.
Oh yes,
it's really good.
I love that one.
And I just playing it and just hearing it is like, oh my god! Like the movie, which I still have like a soft spot for, but my god, that soundtrack it still hits after like a decade. It's so good.
Was it Daft Punk that did the whole soundtrack, right?
Yep.
Yes. They showed up in the movie too, if I'm remembering, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. They did.
That soundtrack. By the way, Flynn's dead. I just wanted to put that out there. Flynn's dead. They're all dead.
And recently the Batman soundtrack I actually really liked. I go back and listen to certain tracks from it, and that Nirvana song is stuck in my head.
Yes.
All the memes on TikTok. Every time I hear it, every time I hear the I guess was it TikTok version of it?
Yeah.
I can't listen to the original one anymore, and I can't sing it on the show because
we'll get slapped with all the copyrights.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one earlier too, and that one had to be weird because like I like Nirvana. I've never been deep tracks, like listen to their whole discography. That had to be so weird for people who since the early 90s have just been jamming out, and all of a sudden, like, and I guess I'm sure for Kate Bush fans too, of just like, because I haven't had that happen with any song where like I really like it for years, and then all of a sudden it's huge. Like that has to be a weird feeling.
It is. Because I am that Nirvana fan where I listen to all of it. I love Nirvana. But and then I heard the trailer, and then even my niece, who she is 11, and she started singing it, and I was like, wait a minute, what just happened here? What? You hate listening to my music. What happened? It's like, the Batman, Aunt Jenny. And I'm like, do you know how weird it is to walk into a birthday party at a roller rink and Nirvana is playing and like 20 little girls and little boys, like 10 and under, are just like singing along to it? when not even 3 months ago you were trying to play it to them and they were like, "Ew, it's old people's music." It is the strangest feeling.
Well, it's like if you go, it's like a YouTube. I made the first mistake of going to comments on YouTube, but when you see a song from like 2006 or 2007, you see a comment, it's like, "Yeah, I was like 2 years old." I'm like, "Don't say that. Don't say you were 2. Don't.
Oh my God.
Please don't." This is the music that I was raised on. Stop saying that. That song came out like 5 years ago. What are you talking about? It's not 2022. It's not.
I made that mistake at work the other day. On Saturday, I put on in the store, it was like 2000s nostalgia was the first playlist. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love all these songs. I remember, playing them, listening to them at prom or homecoming or whatever it was, right?" And then the next soundtrack that came on right after it was, and I kid you not, childhood nostalgia. Like, I remember listening, like one of those weird titles, right? And it's songs from when I was in like college or in high school. And like one song came on, I think it was TikTok by Kesha came on. I think it came out in 2008. And I think I was in my first year of college when it came out. And like the comments below are all like, "Oh my God, I remember dancing to this in elementary," or, "Oh my gosh, we used to learn how to tell the time on our clock in, preschool." And I'm sitting here like, I remember drinking at the bar and this song coming on.
What preschool was playing Kesha?
I don't know. I think like some teacher had like changed the song so that way you could like TikTok like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I was so
a very lit preschool. A very lit school was playing it.
Like her parents listening it in their car with their children's and the chitlins and my soul broke that day.
So while we are going through our respective existential crises over Kesha, we're going to do a quick commercial break. We will be right back.
Just Dance by Lady Gaga.
And hopefully we won't come back with tears on our face. We'll be up a little bit.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
You just finished the last episode of your favorite new show, and you just have to talk about it. But all your friends are ghosting you because of that incident last week at the buffet. Oh, you know the one. What you did to that chowder. Ugh. Keeps me up at night. So what do? Join writer Dan Wickline as he breaks down all your favorite pop culture media. Whether it's a review of the latest nerdy TV show or a dive back into the history of your favorite comic characters, Dan's ready to discuss all the hottest topics live. Join the conversation as Dan live streams Tuesday through Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. The Dan Wickline Show, on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Thanks for tuning into The Experience. Help us out and hit subscribe over on YouTube and click the bell when you do. Need some help? Scan the QR code in the bottom corner.
And we are back to Space Cadettes. We're not crying, sort of. So thinking about Kesha and TikTok. And was there anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, I just had a great experience with a perfect and very weird song. So, I'm very slowly watching The Boys. At this point, I'm watching like one episode a week. I'm still in season 2. I'm getting there very slowly.
That's totally fine.
Starting a new job, my brain has been kind of melted. One of the episodes in The Boys season 2, they always play a song at the end. And they started playing the Golden Girls theme song.
Yes.
And I was just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening?
I think it's because earlier in that episode they did a Golden Girls like mention or something. I can't remember now. Oh my gosh, it's been too long. No.
Yeah. I don't remember them, but also I never watched the Golden Girls, so if they did drop a reference, but they were just doing the like thank you for being a friend as Homelander and Stormfront are being friends and teaming up. And
I'm
it's
sorry.
like, oh no.
I'm sorry. I need we're gonna take it like a quick time out right here. You've never seen a single episode of Golden Girls?
I've seen some clips of the sassy lady.
They're all sassy.
Blanche. She's like,
I never really watched it either. I only saw it in clip. The back being up on this, I never like watched Girls either. But I feel like through sheer pop culture osmosis, I know just enough to get through a conversation where I won't get jumped by Golden Girl fans. So
I don't know. I still might jump you.
Okay, wow.
With all the Golden Girls. With all the Golden Girls. I'd be like, okay. So do you guys ever understand when I do that reference from like, okay, picture this, 2008, San Diego.
No.
Like, no. Okay, so Sophia, who is Blanche's mom, she's from Sicily, and she always goes, picture this, 1908, Sicily. I was sitting there in my underwear. You know, she goes on into these crazy stories almost every single episode, and it always starts with, picture this, Sicily, 1900 something. And I say that probably daily. But she was actually younger than the actress who portrayed her daughter. And she still was like half the size.
So two of them were mother and daughter?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The really, really tiny one and the really tall one.
Yeah, the tall one's a sassy one I was talking about.
They're all sassy. She gets it from her mother because her mother is peak. Sophia is peak sassy. She is tiny, but she will, oh my goodness. Like there was this one episode where she almost, there were two dudes that one came from Sicily and another one came from a retirement home, and they're both chasing after her because they loved her so much. And she was like, forget about it. And you're just like, Sophia, ma'am, what did you do to these men?
This sounds delightful.
It is so delightful. It is a bunch of retired, amazing women in Florida. I'm sorry. If you guys ever get a chance, just like watch one or two episodes of any of the seasons. Only a couple of them are connected. They battle amazing things like the AIDS pandemic that was growing so hard there. One of them didn't quite understand. She really thought it was just gay people who got it. And the other ones were like, no, anybody can. Get over yourself and learn from your mistakes. And they also deal with things with like growing older and trying to find your way, once you're alone, or like if your children don't visit you. And they also do things where it's like, how do you help a kid whose parents want nothing to do with them? Like they tackled really hard things very well for not just for the 80s, but they just tackled them amazingly well. And you feel like you're part of this like family that they've made for themselves. Because, like I said, the owner of the house, like, she's that good Southern lady with that good Southern accent. Oh my, I never. And she actually has siblings. And one of them is like, well, if you're doing this, then you're a sinner. And she's like, why are you even still alive? Like, back up. And you're just like, okay, I love you. Yeah. And another thing that really held dear to me, even to this day, is there's one episode where one of them got very, very sick, and she went to her doctors, and they were just like, oh, it's because you're getting older. Oh, it's because you're a woman. It's nothing. Just go home. And then she ended up collapsing. And then she went somewhere, and they're like, no, you're very sick. Take these medications. You need this surgery. And then she walks up to this doctor she sees in the restaurant that told her it was nothing but her getting old and that she was a woman, and was like, look, what you did was wrong. And it kind of, you feel that justice of like, we're not making it up. Women are not making up that we're sick. You know. Yeah, so they tackled some heavy things, and they also, they had an amazing soundtrack too, because it was all like some of the best of the 70s and 80s.
Well, and that's like what I was gonna bring up too is like, even though me and Shanice have not seen a single episode, both of us, as soon as you say the Golden Girls theme song, like we know what that song is. Like, which is crazy for like a show. Like, is there another show where like you instantly know? Like, maybe Friends, like, but even that one, like, I don't know. I don't know if everybody would know the Friends theme song instantly.
Yeah. Mine is the Rugrats. Everybody's like da 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 da. Like as soon as I hear that da da, and I'm like Rugrats. Sometimes I make that mistake, and somebody's like, no, that's not what I'm doing, and I'm like, you're doing the Rugrats. How I Met Your Mother. Oh, Smallville.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, I don't know that one at all.
Oh
No
man,
clue.
I gotta send it to you. I gotta send it to you later.
Okay.
What about you, Shanice? Is there any TV shows that like you hear that song, you instantly know what it is?
For shows, I guess maybe Friends, but one I actually thought of. It's from a movie that again I've never seen it, but Don't You Forget About Me.
Oh, from The Breakfast Club, right?
You've never seen The Breakfast Club?
I've never.
I
like this.
Say,
I always hear it.
Yeah, it's a good one to watch when you're a teenager.
I don't know. Even as an adult, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I've heard just like setting the bar of expectations. I've heard people try to go back and watch it as adults and been like,
yeah.
You know.
I think it's because if you watch it as a kid or as a teenager, you're like, wow, is that really what's going to be like? And then as an adult, you're like, oh, I can't believe I thought like that. Oh, the cringe is hard. But like going and watching it as an adult first, you're like, oh, the nostalgia is hard. Yeah. Because I think Back to the Future is another one that's kind of like that.
Yeah. So being specific, like what are you guys' favorite TV theme songs? Like what's your favorite one? I have mine if you guys need a second to think.
Yeah, you go first.
I've got mine too. Well, I've got a few, but the first one that came to my mind instantly was the Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I still it's on my iPod. It comes on like, oh, I love this song. Then I think of the last season. I'm like,
we don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about the last season.
But what about you, Bean? What's yours?
So mine is a little bit of a departure from everything else we've been talking about. My favorite one is the Gravity Falls theme song. I don't know if you guys have seen that, and but that little, like every time it comes on, I sing along to it, even though it has no words. Yeah. But I'm just like, do, 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 do. And I'm really bad at singing too, so I can't recreate that song right now. But it's so good. I love it so much. I've been rewatching it too recently, so yeah.
Okay, I think I've got it.
Okay,
and I'm gonna preface this by saying, why did a child show song go this hard in the 90s? I don't know, but it did, and it has stuck with me all these years. But Sailor Moon. Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight. And that guitar solo. So yeah, not just the English, not just the American version, but also like the original Japanese version. Like that song went too hard and I loved it. I was there for it. It was great.
I think like 90s anime intros, they went harder than they had to be, just for like no reason. Like going back to Cowboy Bebop from earlier, like that intro goes hard. Even that one show, Neon Genesis Evangelion, like that is a very show. but you're just kind of like vibing to this.
Yes.
It's great. This is a dark show, but I don't care.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh, everybody's dead on the planet. That's okay. This music, though. Yes. That's how I feel like all of that, like 80s and 90s anime was. It almost felt like the people who are making the songs for this were like, okay, guys, we need to hook these people in within 10 seconds. Hit that guitar riff, hit that saxophone, give it all you've got. And they did. They gave it everything they had. And God bless them. Everyone. What was your favorite like early 90s anime like intro song? We all know mine, Sailor Moon. I loved. Like I still listen to that song sometimes, American and Japanese version. Cause it's just like even like like the guitar solo, like, oh, why? Thank you. But what about you guys? What was y'all's like early anime like theme song favorites?
I think Cowboy Bebop is still gonna be mine. Like I wasn't allowed to watch any anime as a kid, so it's like been as an adult going back, and like there's so much new good anime,
Yeah,
and so little time for me to get caught up. So yeah, Cowboy Bebop I think is the big one because I love Neon Genesis, but I do think that the Cowboy Bebop theme song goes
hard.
It goes hard, yeah. Shanice, what was yours?
Pokemon.
Yes.
Listen,
Everybody. That's one of those songs where you could hear and everybody would know it.
I just learned that Pokemon is still going on. That the show, I didn't know because I don't know. Like I said, I was totally cut off from all that when I was younger. I blew my brain the other day because I was watching my boyfriend play a Pokemon game, and I was like, so how many seasons did the Pokemon anime get? He's like, oh no, it's still happening. I'm like, it's still happening? How many are there?
There's
happening?
also like 50 movies.
Oh my god.
Because each movie, after a certain point, they made 2 versions of every movie. Where it was told from one side with one legendary Pokemon, and it was told from the other side of the story with the other legendary Pokemon. So it was pretty much the same movie, but from the different points of the 2 legendary Pokemon that they were talking about.
Whew. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Everybody talks about how like Naruto or Fairy Tail and One Piece are really hard to like try and like watch all of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, try and watch all of the Pokemon stuff. Because not only is there's a series that's still ongoing, they had like 4 or 5 side series that went on for like 10 seasons apiece. There's at least 50 movies at this point. They've remastered some of those movies where it's like they did cartoon and then they did CGI of that movie. There's all the games that add on to the story. Yeah, that is a whole fandom that like you can get lost in because like the games as well and the cards. And on that note,
yes, I'm going to declare it because I'm really excited, but it's time for pick of the week.
Pick of the week.
I'm so it's not my pick, but I'm excited to talk about it.
It was a good pick.
Shanice, tell us why you picked this great book.
So I picked it because when it came out, I'm like, oh, Scott Snyder has another comic. Oh, it's about 4 women or 5 women. There's a heist, and it's the backdrop is a roaring wildfire. Okay, I'm down, and from the reactions, I'm guessing you guys really liked it. So I just picked. I picked it, and I think in the last episode you guys saw that I was panicking a little bit. I was like, "Oh crap, which book do I need to pick?" I just picked the one I really enjoyed. So I'm curious to hear what y'all thought about it.
So I do have a quick question before we get into so on Ma, the main like head lady, right? The way she's drawn, is that scars all over her face and arms, or is that dirt all over her face and arms? Because even once she's home, it's still that type of like drawing on her?
Maybe we'll find out next issue.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, Jena.
Did you out already?
Huh?
It's not. It's the only first issue is out so far, so we all have to play the waiting game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shanice, you're my friend. You know that, right? You're my friend.
I think I do now.
Okay.
But yeah, what'd y'all think about it?
I really enjoyed it. I think that when you described it, because you described it really briefly, which I'm like glad you did, so that you didn't really like reveal a lot. But the main parts that I got when you were explaining it was like, okay, there's firefighters and they're gonna do a heist. Which I was kind of like, why would firefighters do a heist? Like, you know, and like I knew that there's probably, but I was imagining like someone's in debt to the mob, and so now they've got like that kind of storyline where it's like sort of like crime families or something. And then I started reading it, and they're all on a work crew from prison, which I really, really enjoy that, because like that's not something you see discussed a lot. Like usually people are getting out of prison in stories and stuff. You don't see people still in prison and how, like, you know, they're out on like a work detail doing like really dangerous work. And I definitely feel like it's going to be a lot like discussing not directly the like politics and stuff of like the prison system, but like they're kind of, you know, showing it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I really enjoyed that. I'm really excited to like learn the backstories, because it talks so much about like a person's past doesn't matter out here, but then by like as the comic goes on, it's like, but everyone's past comes back. All the past matter, and it's like,
Yeah.
Oh, I will say one thing, like when I started reading it, I loved the art for it. Absolutely beautiful. I was a little worried at first because usually I don't like when they do the thing where they do sort of like a monochromatic, like all red tone. But then I that's fine. But like I don't like usually when they are in one scene, they're having a conversation, but they're switching back and forth between like monochrome where it's like red and then it's like blue and like green. But this book does it, and I like it.
Yeah.
So that's like a big plus for me, because I'm like, the art is so good. It's doing a thing that I usually annoys me, and I still love it. But Jena, what did you think?
So I thought it was really cool. So just, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but in California, that is something they actually do for people who have like, not just like life sentences, but like are supposed to be in prison for very long periods of times. They're given the option to go out and fight these wildfires for like a couple of years off their sentence, or for like money on their books, or like certain things in prison. Like it's a trade. And a lot of times these people do sign up to go out over and over and over again. And I think it's really amazing that somebody kind of like saw that. And I'm wondering, I really do wonder, like I'm gonna have to go do my research, if Scott Snyder or any of the other like writers or anybody who's part of this project went and talked to any of those people. Because there is a major wildfire going on right now. And there are prisoners out there trying to help fight the wildfire right now in real life. And I think it's really cool that we get to see this in a comic book now. And I also thought it was really cool to see, like, we don't know their backstories. Like, they show their dossiers, but all of it's like blacked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I could totally see that. Because in real life, when you go out there, you know, fire don't care what your past is. Fire don't care what you're doing now. Fire don't care about nothing except for burning it all down. So yeah, I was like, yeah, that seems about right. That seems about fair. It left me with a lot of questions, and I'm wondering how many issues it's supposed to be able to answer all those questions. And it already told us how it's going to end.
But I'll try to stay vague for my part of this.
Yeah.
But do you guys think what happened on the first page does a a misdirection, or if it was played straight? Do you think it's going to be like, haha, it's a plot twist? Or if you've read Snyder's works before, you would do that? Or
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of like, okay, spoilers, but possibly not spoilers, because this is just my prediction. So I think what's about to happen is 4 of them are actually going to die, and only one of them is going to live. Or, some of them are actually going to die, and maybe 1 or 2 actually live. Like, that's just... Ma lives. Yes, I think Ma is going to live. Maybe. I don't know. It feels like the kind of things that we have seen from Ma's home is almost like she has this little teddy, or not teddy, it's like a little dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she's also got a picture on her desk of like her and a kiddo. I'm wondering, maybe there's no more kiddo. Maybe Ma is going to be like, you know what? I possibly have scars all over me and my entire body, and I live a life of solitude. Why don't you guys go off and I will be the remains? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it is like a very bold thing for them to immediately say, hey, we're all dead. That's like bold. And like, honestly, if it was not amazing, I probably wouldn't read it because I'm like, that's stressful.
Yeah, it is.
It's stressful. Like, I'm gonna get attached to these people and then they're gonna get burnt up. How stressful is that? All of them? Because that's what it says. And it definitely, I agree, like, it definitely could be like a misdirection.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't like it when a book does that. It's like, if you say these people dead,
I can't wait to find out how they died.
like,
oh, you dead? Tell me how you died. How did you die? Was it bad? Was it good? Was it not good? How did you die? Yeah, that's what happens to me.
But okay, do you guys? Because like, I'm very torn. I don't know if I want it to be a misdirection or not. Like, where are you guys sitting on that?
I want part of it to be a misdirection.
So I think definitely some of the crew members are going to die. But I think they're going to. I think they're definitely going to run into somebody at the house. I think they're going to get got. So what I'm hoping is that the one who may have a future out of prison, I hope she lives, like with the money.
She's about to get out, right?
The
one that's about to get out of prison.
Yeah, like I think her sentence it's pretty short compared to the others, but it's like the unspoken thing. It's like, okay, you're out of jail. Now what do you do? And unfortunately, like, she may go back because she can find a job, which is unfortunate, because she's trying to make better decisions and have a better life. Yeah. So I'm just curious to see who's gonna be at the house, because it's like, oh man, nothing can go wrong with this heist, right? Like, the info.
What if they get to the house and there's already dead bodies there?
You know what I just thought? It could be like, oh, that's us, but actually it's some other bodies and they're faking their own death.
Yeah.
That would be like that'd be like a wholesome ending.
I just like, oh my God. No. I just thought of this. Okay. So like, her boss that owns this mansion that they had like scammed all these people, right? He disappeared. Nobody knew where he went. What if he went to that mansion with all of his like possessions and stuff with his people, and they go in like a little crazy, and they think the coppers are right around the corner, and they all like killed each other, and then all of a sudden like the team shows up and they're like, oh my God, all these dead bodies, what are we gonna do? Hey, let's steal all the stuff and then bounce, because the fire's gonna take care of it anyways. They're gonna think it's us. Hey.
And there's 5 bodies. One of them is the boss. The other 4 are his clones. We solved it. Also, I did look it up. There's gonna be 5 issues to the series.
Okay, perfection. I can't wait. So sorry about that weird like spiral I took there. All right, so I think it's my turn for the next pick of the week, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you guys are going to really like this one. I've got a couple of different covers here. I don't know which ones I can actually show on camera, so I'm going to show them all. And if something happens, we can just like blur it. So this was a Kickstarter me and Jay backed a long, long time ago. Well, whatever. I can't remember the years. This is whatever. And I loved it so much that I've actually talked to the creators. I have the mask for it. I have like the stickers. I have everything that is connected to this comic. And it's a #1. If you guys want to read the rest of them, let me know. But this is Gaslighters. So you see her? Okay, what is a good way to describe this without spoiling it? Think zombie apocalypse, half zombie Harley Quinn. Yeah, that doesn't spoil anything, does it? No, it doesn't spoil anything. And she dresses very, very. I don't know if you guys can see these. Mm-hmm. I love this cover. And this is kind of more of how she dresses in the book. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, so she dresses very scandalous. What is the word I'm trying to say here?
I think you're combining scandalous and scantily clad.
Thank you. That's what it was. Yeah. We'll call this scandalously.
Yeah.
I like it. So this was a Kickstarter. It was so much fun. I think they just wrapped up their latest one, which I think was the trade for it to come out. She literally does think of her as like a combination of like Deadpool and Harley Quinn, but half dead during an apocalypse.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I don't think I can say any more without spoiling stuff, but it's a lot of fun, a lot of action, a lot of, skin. It's so good. And these guys, this is an amazing team that really love to talk to anybody who's part of, any of their Kickstarters. They're like, oh my God, thank you. Was it the boobs? And I'm like, well, the story and the boobs.
You gotta have both. There's gotta be a story behind the boobs.
Exactly.
All right, but honestly, yeah, I'm really excited to read it. Yeah. I am. Like I don't know. I might read it tonight. I've got tonight to read, so I might just go ahead, especially because it's just the PDF. I'm just open.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We sent it. I think I sent it. Jay sent it in the chat.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, we will get to talk about that next week. I'm so excited. But for this week, I am Bean. I've been joined by Shanice and Jena. We're Space Cadettes, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.